you are here in our galaxy. Shall anybody advocate that the Lord of the universe has no law to govern his kingdom? The law of 10 Commandments is the great moral standard of righteousness in heaven and upon earth. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. The Israelites were God's people. And in Exodus 20 and verses 8 to 11, we have the fourth commandment. And it says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labour and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, thy cattle, the stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." Welcome, friend, to this video on the eternal Sabbath. In Isaiah 58, 13 and 14, we see the rewards that God gives to those that keep his Sabbath. "If you turn your foot away from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honourable, and shall honour him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words, then you shall delight yourself in the Lord, and I will cause you to ride on the high hills of the earth, and feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. The mouth of the Lord has spoken." Jesus himself, when he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. And in Luke 6 and 5, he said to them, "The Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath." In the next verse, "Now it happened on another Sabbath also, that he entered the synagogue and taught." In Matthew 24:20, Jesus is telling his disciples, "And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath." Jesus was speaking of an event 36 years into the future, and he expected his disciples to keep the Sabbath then. There's no change. Paul departed from Perga, came to Antioch and Pisidia, and went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he sat down. And when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. You can see the disciples kept the Sabbath. Not only to the synagogue, but in Acts 16:13 it tells us, "And on the Sabbath we went out of the city by a riverside where prayer was wont to be made." There was no synagogue. "And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the Scriptures." And later he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath, and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks. You know, today there are millions of Christians that keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ on the seventh day, the Sabbath. Matthew records Jesus saying, "Assuredly, I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law, till all is fulfilled." The Sabbath has been kept from creation to recreation. John records, "Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away." That's in Revelation 21 and verse 1. "For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, said the Lord." So we'll be keeping the Sabbath when he makes the earth new. There's no change here. Then, of course, the great controversy is ended. Sin and sinners are no more. The entire universe is clean. One pulse of harmony and gladness beats through a vast creation. From him who created all flow life and light and gladness throughout the realms of illimitable space. From the minutest atom to the greatest world, all things, animate and inanimate, in their unshadowed beauty and perfect joy, declare that God is love. God bless you, friend.